Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 1, Episode 3 of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, titled The Secret of the Ghost Rig. We start off with this cop being kind of pulling over these people, then kind of chasing after this rig, which is like burning on fire, doesn't have a person in it. And at this point, if I'm that cop, I'm going to decide, you know what? I don't get paid far enough for this shit. I'm going home. He kind of gets run around, and the ghost truck escapes. Then we get back to Fred, Shaggy, Scooby, and Velma, who are at the mayor's office. Good old Mayor Fred Jones Sr. And he's basically going to teach Fred Jr., good old Jr., the family business, politics. First off, you're now the unpaid intern. If we ain't got to spend the money, we're not going to spend the money. So he uses Fred, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby as basically unpaid interns. They ruin this old kind of printer, shoot ink at this person named George Avocados. Although Fred Sr. just like, this is George Avocados. Yep. Side note, the mayor's definitely not this big of an idiot. He's doing this shit on purpose. It's honestly kind of funny. It's avocados. We get Daphne, and her parents are setting her up with this dude named Rod Latterton. Rungington or something, Rod Latterton or whatever, who's the owner or heir to a ladder factory. I don't know. It's not really implied if he's like the owner or the heir to a factory. I don't know. And it was in this moment when I heard her dad talk that I realized he and Fred were definitely voiced by the same people, which they are. It was just really noticeable at that point for some reason. And then this whole episode, Fred and Shaggy just fumble. They get to this restaurant and Velma's like, hey, Shaggy, I got food at my house. We should go over there. Shaggy's like, no need. Scooby's got a map of all the pizza places tattooed on his tongue. At least Fred's being oblivious when he's fumbling. Fred's just like a golden retriever at this point, He's just like a good old golden retriever this episode. He meets Latterton or whatever, and he's like, yeah, this is a great guy. You should definitely go on a date with him. Yeah, you should you're going to this place? I love that place. You should get this. Just being like a very supportive friend. And they get chased by the ghost rig, and they call the cops. At this point in time, you gotta just stop calling the cops, because they ain't gonna do shit. Sheriff Bronson Stone shows up. Well, congratulations, you just found our newest tourist attraction. Like, come on, man. At least pretend to do your job. It was the kids that found the evidence of, hey, there's tire tracks. Which means it's definitely not a ghost rig. Or definitely not ghosts. So they start setting up traps. And also, the ghost rig is stealing crystal doorknobs. Excuse me? Crystal doorknobs? What? Is that a thing? And why are they just on random things? Like, they said they were stolen from a school? I'm sorry. The only doorknobs at our school are some old rusty ones that have been in there for like 50 years. The only time anything in a school gets replaced is if it physically deteriorates to the point where they have to. And the reason it's being stolen is because apparently this person named Theodore Avocados, George Avocados' father, stole a diamond and hid it as a doorknob. What? Anyway, they eventually catch the guy in a trap, the ghost rig, and this trap would not have worked. It should not have worked, but it does. And they find out it's Ladderton. What? Apparently his motive is, of course, to find the diamond because he owns a ladder company. And nobody buys a second ladder because they're not built to last, so his company's broke. First off, start making other shit besides ladders. Second off, do what every other company does. Use cheaper material that degrades faster. Problem solved. I mean, it's a scumbag move, but you're willing to do crime, like stealing hundreds of doorknobs. So, I mean, but if criminals thought smartly, if the criminals in Scooby-Doo actually used logic, we wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo show. Anyway, they catch him, and he's like, and I'd have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you, Piers, and that dog. We also meet this guy named Skipper, who's kind of a pirate. He runs a restaurant, and he's like a pirate, but instead of an eye patch, he's got a nose patch. And, which is funny. We, also get some more of Angel Dynamite, who runs the Radio Shack or radio station or whatever, and she's kind of an ally. We get some more from Mr. E, who's like giving some Jigsaw level notes, like, what does this even mean? Like, they get a letter from Mr. E, and they're like, this is either bullshit or a clue. It's probably both, though. This episode wasn't as good as the other ones, I mean, the villain was kind of lame. Although the concept was pretty good, though. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.